a bachelor degree. Especially, I do not have at the time Canadian experience, so North American experience. So you have people who come with basically, I don't say more experience or less experience than us, but like just a year and a half experience difference on the market. But they have potentially they get trained in Canada, in Canadian university. So France is it's a good country to study, and it's recognized in Canada, I can say. But when it's come to the experience, working experience in North America, this is where like it was probably the most difficult part. So I got a couple of interviews, interesting one. Had a couple of offers, but in the meantime, I had this opportunity to pursue a PhD. That's why I continue, and I move on the PhD. But definitively, Canadian experience was a big, or North American experience was one of the big blocker, especially in a competitive market. So it's funny when when you have a bachelor, you have potentially more chance to find a job easily because the competition is lower and your job do not require a lot of expertise or experience. But as soon as you get like a master or PhD, now you're more specialized. So you will not find a job close by. You have to start traveling, be open to change. So I often use the analogy of, if you want to buy some milk, it's not difficult. You just get out of your house, you will find a place everywhere. If you want to buy a mechanic part for your car, you have to try to find a little bit further. And if you try to find something very specific, in this case, you have to be ready to go probably to the next city or other places. So as well, like, sometimes we think like being more educated help to find a job. It's the opposite, actually. That make you more, not less competitive, but you are in a situation where you have to move and be able to move and ready to move to go find this job that require extra skills. So this is kind of my attempt to jump to the market. But what I did after the PhD, after the postdoc, for family reasons, I decided to switch to industry. And sometimes that happen in career, you have to be able to decide what's best for you and your family, and it's what I did at the time. And very pragmatically, what I did is basically I went to Home Depot, I don't remember, Staples. I bought like a whiteboard. I cross a line with a pen, and I start writing all the companies that I think I may be a good fit with. And I start reaching out to, even they do not advertise any job, I start reaching out to those people on LinkedIn, trying to see who I know works there, try to find jobs that are advertised but not directly related to my expertise, and start like applying to each of those jobs. And actually, I was specialized in computer vision, machine learning, optics, and I did, as I mentioned, like I was specialized in biomedical engineering. But the first job I got in the industry was not related to my field, actually, not at all. It was basically a data analyst. I was analyzing data. So sometimes you can think, oh, like Dr. Sally, your PhD, postdoc, and you switch to data analyst. I didn't say it that way. It was for me an excellent opportunity to first relocate to Ottawa, where my wife has a practice, but also the opportunity to start working in the market, the federal government, which is a very strong market with a lot of opportunities, with a large organization who just was awarded a large contract. So it was really my leitmotiv to switch. And this is kind of something I learned from others. It's not because you study in one field that you have to necessarily work in the same field. What's important is like you have like a great idea or vision of where you want to go. And the time I spent with this company, I was exposed, and I was working with strong talent from UK, who graduated from top university in UK, and they basically educate me on how to write code that can be pushed in production. So something I didn't learn in university. Yes, I was prototyping codes, things that are more research development, but when it's come to have something that can run efficiently on production, I didn't have this expertise. So I was extremely educated, but when I joined the team, I didn't join as a leader. I joined as a data analyst, and I learned in contact with these senior engineers, senior software engineers, and so on and so forth, how to write quality code and excellent code. So, and because I have this background in mathematics and so on, my learning curve was very smooth, and in a couple of months I was one of the top employee and get promoted very quickly. So it's another good example of you have to be ready to accept, especially for your first role, something that's not directly aligned with your expectation, but doesn't mean like it's a dead end. I think it's the opposite. You are creating a network, you prove yourself, you get your first experience, and you can move on. So I'll pause here. Ahmed, do you
Yeah.
have any questions?
Yeah, no, again, this is a great insight, and I guess it aligns 100% with, what we are saying in our normal calls, the Sunday calls, that about the list of companies, how to really have that focus on the demand company that really fits you because you have the domain expertise, or you have some, a knowledge in some area that you want to make sure that you have value to deliver to those companies. So that's a great insight. And again, I think most of folks here in the call who are looking for jobs, you have to make that list. And then the next step, I think, Dr. Samir, what you mentioned was networking and, adapting and learning, quickly to those, skills that were advanced more in the industry, more than, the education. Sometimes, again, education is focused mostly on theories and not hands-on that much that industry really needs. So what you shared was really insightful. I think, again, what maybe the next question for you is, after your first job, how did you start to find your career path, or how did you decide on the next steps, and how did you plan this? And again, guys, this call is for you as well. If you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand, and we want this to be more interactive, engaging as possible. So don't feel shy to raise your hand and ask questions as well. Dr. Samir.
Yes, sure. Like I can explain actually, my first role in industry, I was specialized in network analysis and deriving insights from those networks. So something I learned from that experience is this: is like if you try to find a job, you should not try to contact people at first degree close to you, because if they have a job for you, probably you already asked them the question and you're already in contact with them, and they probably already said, no, I don't have a job, an opportunity for you to connect or to kind of get a job. So like what I learned from this expertise or kind of experience with this company is like the network, or your network is basically a subset of network that are attached to each other by a weak link, which is the persona that belong to your network, but is also connected to another network you do not have access to. So it's very important to identify who are those people that are connected to your network and connected to the next network. And there is an excellent tool on LinkedIn. It's a couple of years they introduced that, which is, you can filter by first degree, second degree, third degree. So I discourage you to select third degree, because typically you can be connected to the Premier Minister of Canada third degree. So there is no real value to do that. The first degree are the people that you know, like the people who potentially already ask or reach out to see if there is any opportunity. Where there is value is like if you leverage the second degree of your network. That's mean people are not, you do not know, but someone on your network know them. And typically those people are at second degree are connected to another network where they are potentially great potential for you to find a job, or find people in the next network that has the need for your skill set. So it's something I learned from this network analysis, like try to find and get introduced by someone in your first degree to the people at second degree. And often you see second degree are connected to multiple people in your network. So try to understand who is this person and try to connect. This person will help you to jump to the next network, which is where you will increase your opportunity to find a job for basic reasons. It's because it's a network you didn't explore yet. So potentially there is something there happening that you are not aware of. So this is one example of how you should strategize when it's come to try to expand your network. Another thing important is, and it's someone at Université Laval when I try to find my first job and I apply. This person explained to me that basically the market is typically a triangle, sorry, and this is basically the offer, and you have the demand basically. And most of the time, 90% of the people or the potential candidate are applying to 10% of the job that are basically outside, that advertised. But the truth, like there are typically 90 or 80% of the job that are not advertised. They are or not advertised yet. And like 90% of the people spend 100% of their time replying to or applying to those 10% jobs that are advertised. Where what you should do, and it's connected to what I just mentioned about the network, you should spend your time, actually 90% of your time, to go after those 90% of jobs that are not advertised and are part of network, and keep those 10% to apply to something that is already advertised. So in this case, you maximize your chance to find a job. I will not go in detail, but every job I got are basically related to someone I know who helped me to connect with the right person, to have the right discussion. And when you're in front of the right person and you master your art or your domain, normally it's your time to shine and show that you can be the right person to join their team. So I pause here, Ahmed. Any other question?
No, this is amazing, and again, this is definitely what every job seeker should do. In this current world, again, the networking unlocks hidden opportunities, and as you mentioned, 80% or 90% of those jobs are hidden and not advertised, and they only get hired through networking. So definitely great wisdom. Anyone have any questions to Samir so far? Okay. I don't see any hand raised, so I'll keep
Ahmed,
going.
maybe I can share not my first job, because my first job, as I said, I applied and I explained the strategy, but how I found my the postdoc, because I was in a field more on defense and I switched to biomedical engineering. So it's not a logical move. It's difficult to explain to a professor, hey, I do not know anything about biomedical engineering, but I want to work in your lab, So after my PhD, I went back to France just for the summer. And in south of France, there is a research center, and there is a lady who does something very close to what I was doing during my PhD. So I asked her, hey, I just graduated. I'm doing A, B, C, and D. This is my expertise. Any chance we can discuss? She said, okay, I'll give you 30 minutes. Come to my office. So I went to her office. We finally spent like 3 hours talking. And she mentioned, okay, we try to find a way like for me to work with her remotely or leveraging some sort of possible scholarship or funding for me to work with her lab. And finally, she mentioned, oh, you're in Canada. I know someone in Canada. He's not directly in my field, but he's in biomedical engineering. And I think what your expertise can be valuable for his lab. So I say, okay, perfect. I'm going back to Canada soon. So please make the intro. So she made the introduction. I went there, visited this laboratory in McMaster University, and I started discussing with the professor, had kind of an interview with them, and so on and so forth. So at the end of the day, they offer me a position as a postdoc, but it's a good example where, I didn't know this researcher at McMaster. I have no reason to know this person. I do not know this person in south of France, but I took a chance to reconnect because we have something in common. Enjoying the discussion because I think we had a fruitful discussion. She thought about that and she was interested to introduce me because she sees value in this introduction. So she did the introduction. So she made the introduction. So it's another good example where I can stay home and start sending emails and try to answer or apply to jobs. But what I did is the opposite. I try to understand, hey, who I should reach out to try to get basically. It's important to be in front of people and start interacting with them. This is how you will find your next job. Yeah, I think we have a question.
Yeah, Khaled, you have your hand raised. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Dr. Zamir, Ahmed, thank you so much for organizing this wonderful
You're welcome.
virtual event. I had a quick question that was for introverts, they find it very difficult to be the first person to make the outreach to the person they want to build a network with. Do you guys have any advice, any specific strategy for introverts? Usually they are holding themselves back, even when they see an opportunity to build a network with someone that could potentially help them in the future. Um, Sometimes, like, I have that issue. So, any piece of advice for me?
Yeah, so I'm not especially an extrovert, I'm more an introvert also. I think it's based on natural interaction with human being, okay? So don't, we always think like, hey, I want to appear very well here. I don't want to miss my opportunity. But it's like playing, practicing soccer or hockey or any of those sports. It's just question of practicing. So, you know, um, don't don't expect to get results from your interaction. Just interact with people. I think this is what you need to do. And you will see this interaction that you are putting a lot of effort and you have high expectation. Your expectation will get lower. That will reduce the stress, and those interaction will become more natural, I can say, because it's typically the reason why people do not interact. They don't feel like what they are doing is natural. They think it's kind of a stretch. But if you start interacting with people and you know uh, asking questions and things like that without having necessarily something in mind, like this is where like you become more comfortable engaging with people when you need something. And as I mentioned, most of the time, um, you know you will find a job not because you're applying to a job, but because you share your expertise with people. People do not know what they do not know. So if they do not know you study in certain field or you have some interest in certain domain, if you don't express that and you don't share, they will never know. But eventually the person you are talking to, his cousin or friends, have a company who's desperately seeking for someone who has your profile. But if you do not like express and interact with people, um, you will not be able to connect and find and create this opportunity. Um, in the most recent roles I had, Microsoft and so ServiceNow, I'm more on a focus on I'm focusing on business development and sales operation. And like there is something very typical. You cannot do business if you stay home. You have to go connect with people, talk to them. Even there is nothing specifically at short term coming from them. The fact that you create the relationship and you become a trusted advisor or person they can talk to or come to talk to when they have question. This is the value you provide. And being introvert is not actually a bad thing. It's you just have to start interacting with people, and those interactions will become more and more natural.
Amazing. Thank you
Yes,
so
sir.
much. Okay, awesome. So let's maybe get back to the your career, Dr. Samir, again, and you pivoted, to data and AI, and that's mostly maybe some of the folks here wants to get more insights about data and AI and how to, you know, analyze data and also get some insights from those data and use technology and use AI to make this more efficient. What would you recommend, for someone who's really new to data and AI and wants to crack that field and become, a leader like yours?
Okay, so remember, like my first job was data analyst. So typically, I have multi years of experience in machine learning and AI, but I didn't really use it as much as I want in our first role. But I have a very good understanding of what I can produce or what type of insight I can produce from the data. But I realized quickly that if you don't have good data, like your any inference or any information you produce or insights will be based on bad information or bad data. So like it's very important to understand the value of the data. So I will say, when we say data and AI, there is really two parts, okay? There is the part which is when we say data, it's how to govern data, how to process data, how to analyze data, how to ingest data, how to prepare data, how to serve data. So this is kind of a field on its own, which is basically data engineering in a sense, data governance. And like there are like outside, there are a lot of companies who have basically out-of-the-box solution or platform as a service or software as a service. And most of the top players has trainings for free of charge on their website. So if you want to become a data engineer, you can. It's much more easier than becoming, for instance, a DBA, like database administrator or database expert, because the database exists for multiple decades, and you will find in the industry people who have 20 years experience in database, and they know this world very well. So if you come at this time and you try to position yourself as an expert in database, it's almost impossible because you are competing with people who have 20 years. That said, because of the need of the AI, there is a democratization of what they call data lake, data warehouse, in a sense like lakehouse. Sorry, I said data warehouse, lakehouse and data lake. And this is where, like the last 5 to 6 years, there is not a lot of demand for different industry to modernize their data and ingest data from those different databases that are in silos and bring it to a data lake. So this is where there is an opportunity, data engineering. And I will talk about the AI part, but I want to give time to Ellie to ask his question.
Hello, Dr. Samir. It is nice to see you today and give us the chance to meet with you. My name is Ali, and I hold a computer programming diploma from Al Gongon College. And one of my courses that I studied is business intelligence and data analysis. And sometimes I found myself is interested in this field rather than the software developing, because the core of the program is software developing. But we studied business intelligence, data analysis, how to deal with database management systems. So my question is, if I applying for jobs that related to data analysis and business intelligence, is it necessary to hold a bachelor degree in this field? Because sometimes when I applying to the job, one of the requirement is holding a bachelor degree in data science. So is it mandatory, or I can apply with my diploma in computer programming, and I can also with developing my skills in BI and data analysis? That's it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you for your question, Eddie. So I think you have two aspects. One, as you remember, I was overqualified and I took a job that is lower than my qualification as data analyst. You can think about it. But sometimes, you go after a role there, like the requirement or certain requirement, you do not meet certain of requirement. But again, this is during the interview that you can present your ability to learn, because employers, what they are seeking for is not people who knows. They try to find people who are capable of learning. This is very important, because if you are capable of learning, they know they can continue investing in you, because when you have a new technology or new project, you will be keen to learn and develop your skills and continue helping the company to progress at a high pace. So typically, when something, they require something about the education and say something is missing, let me take exactly the example you just mentioned, Ali. So you mentioned like business intelligence. So the people who have jobs in business intelligence, usually they know certain technologies. Let's say for BI, they know Tableau, they know. So if you go to an employer and you show a portfolio of, hey, those are the typical data I have, and this is what I'm capable of doing in one of those leading technologies. And they say, but by the way, I'm learning, and I'm learning more and more day after day about AI. And those are the typical course I'm taking on the side, they probably will take the chance to work with you, because they say, okay, this person can provide immediate value now, and he presented, he's capable of learning. So maybe I will invest in this person rather than a person who, yes, check the box about education, but I have no clue if they are keen to continually learning and being at the top of the thing and be sure like they can pull the company up toward like next challenges. So I would say it's not because you don't have the skill you should not apply. Actually, the advice I receive from some of my mentors is this: like, let the employer tell you no. Don't block yourself. You know, you see an opportunity, there is 6 or 5 requirements, you have 3 of them, apply. Try to understand how you can have a discussion with the decision maker. Like again, leave to others to say no. Don't block yourself. You know, like so my advice, like probably, you know, in this market there is Power BI and there is Tableau. There are the top 2 technologies. If you master one of 2, and it's not that long to get up to speed, or at least getting some good knowledge that can be valuable for a company, and you can demonstrate that, I think you already be considered by the employers.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And finally, everything that you did that is not aligned with the requirement can be a plus, because you never know what is the trajectory of the company. Potentially, they may explore certain things that they are not doing today. And the fact that you have this profile can be a good addition to the organization. So I know that we have 2 other questions, Ahmed. I think.
Yeah. Let's take Isra and then Faisal. Go ahead, Isra.
Hello, how are you, Dr. Samir?
I'm doing well, thank you for asking. And you?
Thank you. I'm fine. May I ask you about your recommendation for college name provide graduate programs or diploma in field AI, and another one in data management, and perhaps maybe including co-op program is perfect to include. If you know, certificate is better than diploma or not. Also, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, good. So are you based in Canada, US? Where are you?
Yes, in Canada, Ottawa.
Okay, perfect. So I would say, you know, you have a combination of online courses. And those days, you know, when I study machine learning a couple of years ago, basically there is no real website about internet and things. Were really like course inside the university and books translated from Russia or different countries to basically learn what ML machine learning was. So those days, you know, you find a lot of material outside, you know, published by top university worldwide. You have even like great professors that are delivering like courses. You have like training or certificate on specific platform on the hyperscaler, like the cloud provider that provide a lot of information, and you can get trained on those material and get certified at the end, I think at a very low cost, almost free. So this is for like the accessing to the knowledge. So it's very easy to access to knowledge compared to a couple of years ago. Now, if you want to have a diploma, something that, hey, it's great, I have the knowledge, but I also want to be able to say, I got this knowledge from this specific university. In this case, you know, I think all the Canadian universities are very good when it's come to learning and certificate or programs. The format is a little bit different, you know, than what you can find on internet. So, you know, in Ottawa, they are like great university. Just pick one of them. All programs are great. Co-op is also great because you get the opportunity to work with a company. But I think, you know, like a couple of years ago, it was only through universities. Now it's also outside university. So my advice for you is like, try to get all the information you can have, you know, and have access to, or knowledge you can have access to through, for instance, open source, those hyperscaler, as I mentioned, and others. And if you want to have like something like from a university, of course, you still have like a great university in Canada. You can pick any one of them. They are all very good when it's come to those programs. Probably 5-6 years ago, We have probably 2 or 3 universities who already master that, but now every single university has this type of program, and they all have high quality courses. So I'm not sure if that helped.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. I think Faisal.
Faisal.
Yep. Hi, Dr. Samir. This is Faisal. Thanks for being the guest speaker today and for all of your thoughts and guidance. So I'm currently working as a data architect, mainly in Azure Databricks and Azure Synapse. And I have about 20 plus years of experience as well. Have been doing the software development in the past using the .NET technologies and Azure and AWS clouds. But one of the thing that I'm currently stuck with is I want to transition to data science or the AI. But I got the training in 2019 through some PhDs on pandas and scikit-learn and some other Python libraries as well. Got some hands-on experience as well, but then I got disconnected from that because of some tough assignments and projects. Um, Now I'm currently a little bit confused on how can I transition back to AI and machine learning, and what could be the best set of technologies or the platforms that I can use to jumpstart on that side.
Okay, perfect. So thank you very much for sharing your background experience. So I understand like you have a good knowledge about data and also about a platform like Databricks. So I know very well this technology. I used to sell it when I was at Microsoft. I spent 7 years at Microsoft. So what I will say is like okay, there is a shift, okay, that happened a couple of years ago. Like initially, as I mentioned, it was machine learning. So you take the data, you analyze the data, you prepare the data, then you try to find which model works best, and finally, you spend hours, weeks to fine tune each model to finally get a model that seems to work, and you test it on a large volume of data, and you realize that doesn't work. So you say, okay, something is not working. So you go back and you do it again and again and again. So now those processes have been streamlined, but they're not mastered by enterprise yet. They are still struggling to streamline this process and be able to bring value from their data training model. So different platforms introduce Databricks, and others introduce like automated training, machine learning training, to try different opportunity or different models, different parameters and things like that. So that it's still like, yes, that help to improve the model and make it more relevant or faster to production, but there's still a lot of struggle here. Like it's still a big blocker. So it's probably an angle, Faisal, you should leverage, because you have this knowledge about how data is processed, prepared, managed, and so on and so forth. And you understand the struggle of the pipeline, the automation of the pipeline. So, CI/CD for software or CI/CD for basically data processing, it's similar to CI/CD for machine learning, which is called MLOps.
Yep.
You understand? So probably, yes, you can go frontal and say, hey, I would like to be in competition with hundreds of thousands of people who all learn scikit-learn, Python, and so on and so forth, or generative AI. But there is very few who really understand how pipeline works when it's come to data and machine learning. So probably this is the angle you should use. Mention like go learn about MLOps, which is it's DevOps for machine learning. And that will probably help you to transition slowly toward basically the AI, the ML and AI capability by providing value to enterprise company. So now you will move from pure data processing to automated machine learning models to production. And this is where like you will be able to jump into the ML or AI world. If you want to go very directly to ML and AI, without leveraging your knowledge, of course, there is a bigger gap and higher competition because you have like a couple of people who have a degree, spent 5 years studying ML or machine learning or PhD or postdoc, that you're competing against them. So that becomes difficult for you to provide value to an organization. So this is probably the angle I encourage you to leverage. There is another element, and you remember at the beginning I was mentioning data, and I explained the data, but I didn't explain the AI. So the ML, as I mentioned, you have data, you process the data, and so on and so forth. The AI is something a little bit different. It's the result of the effort of ML engineers. So when we talk about, transcription of voice to text, text to voice, and translation, and so on and so forth. It's AI, it's not ML. Why? Because you are using a model that has been trained. And now it's how you integrate AI into the applications, how you leverage those capabilities to the application. So you're not necessarily an expert on speech to text. You don't necessarily need to understand how it works behind the scene, how transformer works. But you are capable of leveraging those capabilities and infuse this AI in different solution application to provide value to the customer. So again, the ML part, that require, I think, a lot of work, because you have to get familiar with the program, with the platform, with the different models, and so on and so forth, the deep learning, the TensorFlow, and all the things. Where AI is more like infusing capabilities that have been, or model have been trained toward like application and show value. Give you an example is like you can have a problem where that requires a speech to text. So you have an audio, speech to text, use some intention, detection of sentiment, translation from one language to another, RAG, retrieval augmented generation, to use a knowledge base and find information, and combining all those elements together, build a solution or have a solution that can be added to a call center and become a call center as a service, but boosted with AI. So now, there are companies already build those capabilities, so customer can buy it. But you can find companies who are trying to integrate this technology in their platform, or companies who are building those technologies for their product. And now you are leveraging your knowledge, your expertise, and you are using AI, that is today low-hanging fruit, to jump into this game. So you have different opportunities. It's just you to decide which one you want to go after.
So two things. Any platform that you suggest is a better platform right now and has more user traction or developer traction? And second is any certification right now in the market that helps position better in the industry?
So I will flip the question differently. Instead of trying to find who is the technology or vendor and get the certification, I will encourage you to try to understand what those company needs. Like a couple of years ago, they need, for instance, Hadoop, okay, and slowly they move toward Spark. So once you understand what is the technology they leverage and they want to use in their digital transformation, this is where you can start mapping the technology to the solution to the technology. Okay, Spark, Databricks one, but that exists on Synapse, that exists in many platforms. Now the question is like, now we identify what is the technology. You can try to understand, hey, which one of those vendors has or open source capability has a better traction in the market, and try to get the certification from those organizations. So you become valuable for those companies or trying to find this expert in data engineering who knows, for instance, Databricks. You understand what I mean? So I will flip the scenario, and as I said, go that way rather than technology first.
Right. Thanks. Yep.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Dr. Samir. This is really valuable information and the wisdom, and definitely will help us a lot. Bushra, I think you have your hand raised. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Samir, for this useful workshop. I do have a question. I have a master's degree in computer and electrical engineering with 2 years of experience as a data analyst, and I'm planning to continue my education and get a PhD. The question is, do you recommend quitting my job right now, especially that I'm still in my early level, and let's say apply for the PhD, or do you think it's possible to take the PhD as a part-time and while at the same time focusing on my career? So take both of them in a parallel way. And the second question, do you think like within 5 or 6 years from now, if I have this PhD, will I have as opportunities as the people who have 6 or 7 years of experience in the job market, in the market, or it will be more focused on the research and the universities?
Okay, thank you, Bashra, for your question. I think that connect well with what I mentioned or the comment I made earlier during the call when I said, hey, it's like you want to go buy milk, you just open your door, you walk a little bit, you find the spot or a shop that sells milk. If you want to buy mechanic part for your car, you have to go a little bit further. And if you want to buy something even more specific, you probably have to go to the next city. So like don't necessarily consider the PhD as an enabler to find a job. It's not how you should think about it. The PhD is mainly for to develop a way to think. Like when you are a student in a bachelor degree, you learn matter and you try to understand how things works, and you try to eventually with engineering you try to understand the concepts and how to apply them. When you go master, it's basically 1 or 2 years where you start learning the methodology of research and try to understand how a project works and how you're supposed to do research. So it's just a training period. Then when you switch to PhD, I like to present it as a maze, So you know the entry, you know where's the entry, and you know that potentially there is an exit. But you don't know how many times, how long you will stay inside this maze trying to find the path. So the value of the PhD is not to get in and out. It's to explore the maze and develop skill set that will be useful for the rest of your career. So this is really the value prop of a PhD. It's not the diploma. It's the process of learning how to think and how to get at the edge of the cutting edge of the technologies, because this is really what you are going to do. The first year in the PhD, you will do your review, some exams to be sure like you have the level. You'll select a project with your professor, and then you are going to start like pushing to the limit of the knowledge and try to understand, like reach to this edge. And then this is what is needed to get your PhD, is to develop the right strategy and so on and so forth to step away from the edge and discover new things. This is the purpose of, and sometimes it's just an iterative or incremental innovation. Sometimes it's a revolutionary innovation, something that will change the field in which you are studying. So this is why, like, I'm careful about the fact of quitting jobs to go PhD, because it's not really it's two different purposes. The knowledge you acquire during the job is basically career experience, and you get experience through project. Things are concrete and they are specific to the industry or the company you're working with. Where the research, you are developing skills that later on are skills you rarely be able to develop in a company, except if you are part of a group that is doing research and development. So the PhD can offer you the opportunity to jump back into a company who has a group who focus on R&D. But most of the company, their focus is quarter by quarter. They want to make money to survive and continue growing. This is really the purpose. So you will not necessarily have the time to try to explore a project on the side. That said, just to answer your question, because I want to be prescriptive, I know a couple of people who did basically had a full-time job and were doing their PhD on the side. But their employer knows that. That means it was a commitment from the employer that, hey, we are going to give you some time every month, every week to work on your PhD to be sure you can continue. That said, it's longer. It's not that fast. But be careful about, those are two different paths. And if you want both to work together, you have to have some sort of commitment from your employer that they will give you time to focus on that. And sometimes it's in their interest because they know you have a great potential and they want to invest in you. Think about MBAs. It's the same concept. You're in your career path, you spend a couple of years, managing projects and things, and your employers see a lot of value. They say, okay, this person is definitively potentially a future executive. We are going to invest in this person for the next 2 years or year and a half. We are going to pay, and most of the people who have an MBA, usually it's from the industry. The company is paying for the MBA. So when they come back in the company, or they do that part-time, and they come back and they are in a different position. They get to a next level. So it's not, again, that work what I work, but this is my advice to you. Try to, because PhD is quite very intensive because the maze I described, it's very difficult in a sense. It's not the project that is difficult. It's more like, be sure like you continue pushing to get to the exit. And like not necessarily in science, but in other domains, 50% of the students with PhD dropped after 2 years or 3 years studying and never graduated. So I don't say it's a bad path. I follow this path, but my motivation was not to try to get a better job. It was just because I was passionate by what I was doing. And as you know, like as I explained, like graduated in physics, optics, and I switched to biomedical engineering, which is a little bit related, but not that much.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. This is a great wisdom. Thank you so much. Nice questions. Really appreciate Bushra, Isra, and everyone who asked questions. I think we have like 5 minutes to finish here on the hour. But again, maybe if you, Dr. Samir, want to spend, the last few minutes about, what is the biggest wisdom you want to share with people who are currently, searching for jobs or those who are in data and AI field, what is something that is really critical for their career?
Okay, so I will talk about finding a job and then data and AI. So finding a job, I told you it's all about network. Okay, I refer to my employer, my current employer, talent because I know they are good at. They are good talent, and I refer them to my employer. When people reach out to me and I work with them and I know they are good, I help them to get a job, to introduce them to my network. So why? Because two things. One, it's because I had multiple mentors in the past that helped me. And when I say, hey, what can I do to thank you? They just respond, hey, what I did for you, please do it for someone else. Because like it's time, like I'm doing that because someone else did it for me. So like pass that to the next one and help others. And don't say thank you, just help others. So this is what I was doing for the last 15, 20 years, People help me, I help them, and that create this great network. So this is one thing. And the second thing about data and AI, I will say there is a lot of noise around data and AI, and everybody wants to jump into that. I always pick a domain that is, and it's just because I was motivated by those domains. When I picked machine learning at the time, nobody was talking about it. So I didn't go there for the buzz. When I jumped to biomedical engineering or even data and AI, it was not because it was a buzz, just because I thought it was well aligned with my career trajectory. So I would say, because now data and AI is in high demand and there is a lot of noise, and I think what's important is to differentiate yourself between people who just pretend to be versus people who really have a knowledge. So you always have some sort of quality or knowledge that can be valuable for your employer or future employer. You just have to identify it and shine and show that this is through this basically skill set or knowledge, you are able to basically contribute to the success of the company. This is typically what I can say, like try to help others like others help you, build your network. Don't jump into the buzzing words, because usually they are pushed by the marketing, but very few by real